keeps all the good stuff inside. So it's a boundary in that sense. It keeps all the metabolites, the food particles, the enzymes, the DNA. It keeps it all inside and keeps it from just floating away. So that's a very important function.
In all living things.
All living things. The only argument you might make is some people might say viruses are alive. Most people think they're not living. But aside from that little bit of controversy, every living thing is built out of cells.
Viruses don't have a cell membrane.
They have
Yeah, they have a
They're just hunks of DNA or an RNA wrapped in protein, typically. But let's not get into that.
I go into that in my microphone.
A typical cell is the common form that you encounter in life. And certainly for us, we have these billions of cells, each one of which is wrapped up by this plasma membrane. So it's an important boundary. It keeps all the goodies inside. That's an important function. It also is more than that, though. It's not just a passive structure. A lot of interesting things happen inside cells. For example, they regulate what goes in and what goes out. If you think of it as a structure, our cell as a structure, you've got boundaries. So we've got walls, we've got a roof, we've got floor that keeps stuff inside from going out. The wind doesn't blow stuff outside because we've got roof walls. And we keep stuff from the outside from coming inside too. So it's an important boundary. But if you think of the boundaries, the physical boundaries around us here, these are not just enclosures in that sense. We have people going in and out, right? So the cell membrane has to do the same function, regulating the flux of material in and out. So we have doors that let people in and out. We've got windows that let air in and out. So that's an important thing. And the door can be locked, so not everything can come in and out. So likewise, the cell membrane has portals in it that lets some things in and some things out. And more than that, it's kind of an active thing. In our door right there is light switches. There's a window so we can see who's outside. There's a clock that tells us what time it is. Information from the outside world is coming in. There's electricity in the wall that's providing us power. In cell membranes, for us, important stuff happens actually inside the membranes. That's where ATP is made. So our power in the cell sense is coming from this boundary structure inside mitochondria. The ATP is being made in the membrane. So it's not just a passive boundary, although it certainly is a boundary. And we get signals from the outside world. A lot of these things will be hormone receptors and other kinds of sensors that will give the cell important information about what's happening outside. So it's not just a physical passive structure. It's made of lipids. When you think of membranes, the first thing you think of would probably be lipids. That's true. It provides this basic structure, but depending on the membrane, there's also maybe a ton of protein inside the membrane, like this. These are proteins stuck in here. And some membranes are going to have carbohydrates on them, typically the ones that face the outside world. So plasma membrane would have that. Some proteins are deeply embedded in the membrane. We call those integral membrane proteins. Some are loosely affiliated with the outer surface, usually stuck on by electrostatic forces. We call those peripheral proteins. Okay, so we've seen the plasma membrane. Here's a cross-section of a cell, and it has plasma membrane in here. Some here it's marked as cell membrane, this one right on the outside. But we are eukaryotes. In the biological world, you can divide it into different kingdoms. There's the prokaryotes, the bacteria. We are part of the eukaryotes. We have a true nucleus, something prokaryotes don't have. Well, if you look at the nucleus where we keep our chromosomes and DNA, it has a double membrane around it too. There's the plasma membrane, there's this membrane, there's mitochondria. Mitochondria have two different membrane systems, an outer and inner. So eukaryotes are way more complicated when it comes to membranes. We've got internal organelle membranes. Plants have chloroplasts. We all have Golgi that are involved in secretion, endoplasmic reticulum, all kinds of vacuoles and things. So you can't just talk about